Hey everybody, I'm Mike McMahon, and you are watching Trekyards.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Trekyards. I am Captain Foley.
And I am Connor Kongs. It's episode 4.
And you and us and everyone around is a moist vessel. And that's what this was about. Kind of. The title's a little bit odd. But anyway.
Well, this show's a little bit odd. So it goes part and parcel with it. But Stuart, we've not talked about it. So what do you think of episode 4?
Well, it's in running for my favorite with last week's. I'm not quite sure which one I like more. I think it might be this one, just because this one's more ship-centric, which as you know, I like. The B story was kind of, but I did enjoy it quite a bit, and it was one that felt very much like it could have been an episode of TNG, just with the ship transforming. I like that. It's much like Masks. Even elements of the episode Disaster in this one as well, where people are cut off in different parts of the ship. Yeah, I'd say I really enjoyed this one.
I would say surprising is a good word. You know, we've been very, very, very different to the first 3. Oh, and guys, spoilers. Obviously, spoilers. But like each of these 4 has been pretty damn different, both in construction and tone and characters. Like, we were told the pre-titles are going to be meaningless, just a fun bit. But everything was one full story, and it was so much jam-packed, but they dedicated like every second to it, so it felt a lot more full. It's kind of the opposite to Klingon Guy's story, which was like super light. This is like, oh wow, we get a full 26 minutes of non-stop story, and a lot of twists and turns, a lot of interesting things. The most Star Trek episode in terms of structure, definitely. This show has high potential and low potential. I think it's a lot better when it comes to story and pace and interesting visuals. With obviously the caveat with all Trek shows that, you know, a single hyperspray or a single bit of gas can deform matter. It's just everything. You can't complain about that because it happens in every single Trek. There is literally dozens of precedents. It's just technology. Fine. The problem with this episode, though, is it makes the captain look terrible again. I know it's part of their just character stories, but you go away from this episode thinking, my God, she's an awful captain. Again. And Mariner is definitely worse for this episode. Again. She keeps fluctuating. Her, like, it's beyond disrespect to just, like, she's an awful officer until she isn't. And the mum is absolutely a terrible captain until a few seconds. It's very strange.
Yeah, and not even her, not just her. I mean, the Tellarite captain is also awful. And I pointed this out last night in my first review. Like, why would he want to get into that special position? And, you know, we're leading this mission. We should be in that position. Get closer. Screw up the tractor beam thing. Because when I heard the line of dialogue that the tractor beam was it has to be closely monitored to prevent damage, I assumed a setting or something done by somebody on the Cerritos would be off, and that would cause some problems. But no, it's this other Starfleet captain who is jealous of Freeman for some reason. She was staring at her picture on the screen right before he did that. It just doesn't come off as something a Starfleet captain would do.
Well, again, remember, he's on a California class, low-grade ship. So these are not the best, and nowhere near the best of the best. Although this mission is quite an epic mission, so why not send a better ship? Oh well. I buy it in that there's obviously a massive history of these two, and every scene up until that scene was her disrespecting him in some way or another. And he just had enough. And he's thinking, is much more like you'd have, you know, the secondary captain of an episode making just a mistake based on ego rather than like, you know, people can make mistakes. He just made a mistake. And it escalated. Yeah, he's not great, but you can tell, you know, because the main captain's series is awful, made him be worse. To literally make your own daughter's life so terrible and then amazing, to punish her enough to get her off the ship. That's what our hero captain is doing. Can you imagine that being in any other season? Now, I guess we had this recently in the short trek. She was equally bad, but more just, you're off. Shut up, you're off. But I mean, it just makes her look terrible. I mean,
yeah, no, I was surprised by that also, because we need to see something good about this captain at some point in an episode. Like, we already got some good first officer moments from Ransom. We need some good captain moments from Freeman to justify why she's a captain. That being said, we did get an insight into her and Mariner's relationship. Always second guessing her kid, always kind of pushing her, and I think that's one of the reasons that Mariner's kind of fed up with Starfleet, because she was, like we said, had an admiral dad and a mom captain, forced to perform when she really didn't want to, and I think that's one of the reasons she's so against being an officer, because she did so well, she learned so much to prove that she could do it, and now she just doesn't have that drive anymore. So I love that relationship between the two of them, and I'm glad that was fleshed out a little bit.
I mean, just like with Star Trek Picard, and you had the terrible admiral who was just unjustifiably mean to Picard, but then the payoff was him being like, I told you so, and I apologized to Picard. The setup is she's awful, the payoff is Picard's better. So you need that. It doesn't make the first one good, but it means it makes it logical. So they had to make these start them really bad, because then the nice moment of them together has to then feel earned. So yes, but yeah, the journey was the hard bit to watch, and it is interesting. Although, as you basically alluded to, it's not so much each of them are terrible; it's them terrible in the same place. Because clearly, the mum captain, a lot of her daily thought is based on Mariner, and Mariner's a lot of day-to-day thought is, I don't want to be on this ship. And so combine the two, they're using too much mental resources on each other, which means when they do interact, they're each worse for it. So she should not be on this ship. Like, it was the worst choice to have her on the ship, because it just makes the captain go crazy. I think without her, she would be a better focused captain. And obviously, Mariner wouldn't need to... she's being a constant teenager. She's just rebelling for the sake of rebelling. I mean, to yawn in the meeting was pathetic. And it's fine if we showed her, like, working all night on a project, to literally she just went off, like, if the interesting was she's off duty doing something amazing, and she came in with literally zero sleep, doing a good thing, she's tired. But it's pathetic that she's yawning in that meeting. It makes her look terrible, and there's no real redeeming for there. I don't... These people are meant to like, and we kind of like them, but they're also awful officers. Need to find a better balance, because you can do better ways of being undeserving of promotion. So definitely a worse Mariner episode, except at the last little bit.
There's some real silliness and stuff in here, like the yawning was something that really annoyed me as well. It's great to have two ships, but why not have a different class of ship? It's not like you have to use the models you have made. Just animated. I would have liked a different style ship instead of another California class. I'm glad that next week we're actually getting one, but
I mean, obviously they did put the effort in to make the stripes different. There's multiple color differences, and obviously in interior they had like green L cars, which I thought was... I'm so glad we didn't get those in the real ship, because they don't look very good. That bridge did not look great. With the altered color palette, no thanks. But great to see Telluride Captain though. Just call out on having great choices, just because you can have anybody. Telluride Captain, awesome, cool. Although given the Telluride's need or original Enterprise need to kind of be combative, argumentative, that I guess can kind of link in why he was wanting just to do his own thing, because he's like, ah. But I think having it be another low-end ship again helps the people be more stupid. If that wasn't a Kira or a Saber or a Steamrunner or like, well, yeah, but these are top 50% ships. The California is top 12% ships, But that said, that's about the main story. These are all about the character stuff. I was so impressed that from the first scene we get the plot, and it's constant and it's all set up. Good looking design of the alien ship. It's there but not too much.
It was interesting. Definitely a Star Trek, trope. And seeing the alien ship was quite interesting. The fact that basically they've been out there for centuries and something failed. They didn't get to their destination, which is very typical of TNG. So that was great. One of the issues that I had with that was the orange goo, which is fine. Yeah, they broke off a panel that came through the tractor beam. I expected the Cerritos to immediately cut off their tractor beam as well. And I think that would have, disengaged tractor beam and move. So even if it is coming towards you still. Anyway. So that was kind of silly. But anyway.
I think though it is played in that this took less than 6 seconds.
Yes. But still, it was frustrating to watch because it didn't look that way at all.
Yeah, and based on the fact that we allowed the first ship to be in taken so much, you're like, okay, now do your thing. Oh, you're not. Oh, okay. It's like they should have time, Yeah,
because I was quite surprised the other ship got hit first, because then I'm like, oh, okay, so all that stuff that's happening that we see in the previews was on the other ship. They beam over.
I like that idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But then to reverse it and have like no real damage to the Cerritos. Although that being said, with the Ascension scene, there's actually like a ceiling and floor missing above Tendi. So the whole ship was not severely damaged, but also damaged at the same time.
I mean, there's also wet carpet to the wet damage to the carpet. I mean, there's it's a little bit soggy, but yeah.
I love how it's like at the end, it's what saves the crew of the other ship, because they just beam them over there instead. It's almost like they need a new ship or an old ship.
Well, it felt like a real Star Trek story, just a little bit over the top. And obviously in TNG they could never have done that level of ship destruction. And for the most part I thought it was handled well, although like in engineering, because the room is so massive, you got so much massive coral and such, which just feels a bit silly. Just the amount of it. Although I'm kind of glad that we've got past that bit of the trailer. Like, okay, that was it. Like, we've now seen that. Well, what else is there to see? And it wasn't handled as bad as it could have been. This show's great for references, and we got a Moriarty one, which was a bit of a strange one, but hey ho. I wish they'd said, because when they talked about the goo, someone should have said, "Oh, just like a Genesis device," because it's just the Genesis device tech, but in goo form, not energy bomb form. Like, why wouldn't you make that distinct reference? Because it's the MacGuffin, but you've already established this exact technology in a different form, so it's nothing new, even though it's magic, absolute magic. Although that said, if it can create rock, is rock living? Like, then they said at the start it creates organic matter. It's like, is rock organic matter? I'd assume rock would be inorganic matter. Coral's organic, but like it makes rock pillars. It's like, that's not really why would you want to create rock? Like, if you go to a desert planet, you've already got rock. You want flowers. So small.
Maybe because there were no rocks, it felt it needed to make rocks.
Hey, that's fine. I'm absolutely okay with that. Like, percentage-wise, I'm fine with that. So I was fine with the MacGuffin-ness of it. Although for it to be right at the front with one panel seemed odd. I wish something else had happened to catalyst it, but I liked it going the tractor beam. I thought that was fun as a good catalyst to get the plot rolling. And I like that the other ship was deaded because of it. There was it was obviously not our hero ship, but there was repercussions for it. His mistake. He lost a ship. Like, losing a ship is a big deal in Starfleet. That guy might not get reassigned a new ship because that was completely his fault.
I love the computer in this one. Unauthorized terraforming detected, and also the whole hitting it.
Yes.
With the response to releasing the gas.
Now you've reminded me. Yeah, there's a few good. Yeah, that one made me laugh out loud. The end one. There wasn't as many funny moments. There wasn't as many gags. I felt like, because it was more focused on the story, and I liked the story. So that's why I say each one is so different. And a lot of the stuff felt less throwaway in this one, which then brings us into Tindy, her whole subplot, which we were very excited to have a full subplot with her, and I was surprised it actually was a crewman, although we got quite an interesting reveal with that. But what do you think of her, like in more detail, of her, her first real plot?
Again, we haven't seen as much of Tendi as we would have liked. I expected to see more about her so far, and we just haven't really got that. This was just playing on the tropes we've already seen. Like, she wants to be liked, she wants to have friends, and now when she says, "I want you to like me," I immediately thought, oh, she's like attracted to him. But then she goes on to kind of explain she doesn't like when people don't like her.
Which I can sympathize with.
I can too.
It's like, if you're a nice person, why does someone not like you? Well, it's them at that point, not you. But it's like, oh.
And then they just start making out, and
well, it's an adrenaline situation,
Yeah, I know. I just wish, it didn't really reveal much about Tendi that we didn't already know, because she said, Rutherford, you're my friend. I don't have a lot of friends on the ship. Before, so it's nothing new for her character. We need something more focused on her.
Well, yeah, it took the themes of that were hinted at previously and gave them a full form episode. It showed the length she'll go. I mean, I laughed out loud a little bit. I don't know why, but I took my days off for this. Took my 6 days off. It's like, what? Really, 2 holiday days for this? Okay, fine. And I liked in vagueness the concept. I like how she ruined the ceremony. I liked the reveal that the guy was lying the entire time, because just the social commentary of, I mean, it made me stand out, because Starfleet is so competitive. You've got to stand out. You know, Mariner stands out being an awful officer. He stands out by being the transform guy. But I don't see why Starfleet would let him do that, because then they'd lose an officer. Like, what, do they have to get official permission from Starfleet Command to allow him to ascend to a higher plane of existence? It's like, what? Like, that seemed odd to me. That's why I was assuming it was not going to be part of the crew, because that would be a non-logical thing. But I guess it's so rare that whatever. And then at the end, when he did ascend, that was quite a nice reveal, satisfying, wait, what? Moment. And but hey, we've got the reveal now. The universe is on a koala's back. I mean, revealed, you know? And
ascension is painful.
Well, that ascension is, yeah.
Very painful.
I was entertained by that scene.
I was going to say, at the end where the Admiral comes in and talking about, we picked something up on the sensors. I assumed he would go on to say it's a
new life
kind
form.
of energy being. I thought that would tie in, and it just didn't. But
I'll jump back to Admiral in a second. But I kind of wish, now thinking about it, rather than a koala, it had been like an animator's pen. Like, it literally was a real live video of the animator. I mean, is it very silly? But I mean, this sort of show, you can make that work. Like, it was literally Mike McMahon in a script meeting. You know, that would be kind of fun. I mean, you know, it's just as silly as a koala, because neither's canon, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to take that as really the universe on a whatever. And so jump to the Admiral then for a second. I didn't get for a second that she was making fun of him by using the wrong word. I just thought that she was being sort of polite and not mentioning that he can't pronounce a word. I was like, you know, for the daughter to do it annoyingly, fine, but to call out her mum, I didn't get the impression that she was making fun of an admiral.
I don't think she was. But yeah, that kind of bugged me a little bit too. That she had said that. But then to say, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be said. That's how I always say it. No, it's not. Well, it's true, because earlier in the episode, she actually says sensors properly to Jack Ransom.
I mean, I didn't even register that he or she was saying it wrong, because guess what? People have different accents. I mean, what if he's Canadian? What if he's Australian? What if he's English? I mean, people say it differently. Same, like, you know, it's that I felt was a very weak joke. But we had to get her de-promoted. Well, speaking of, then, she was promoted, and that was a lot of the episode.
She was promoted straight to lieutenant as well. She didn't go to lieutenant junior grade first, which is weird. Unless she was already a lieutenant before and because we know she's been demoted, so.
Yeah, because the only rank higher would be, so lieutenant commander's higher, and then commander's the highest, and then you get captain. So she's halfway through the chain of command from the lowest of the official. Now, the impression I got there is that obviously it's a conceit that she has to be in the meetings because that's the annoyance bit. But I got the sense that to be a lieutenant only and be in those meetings implies that there's actually very few lieutenants and lieutenant commanders, and therefore she needs to be active, because otherwise she would be one of 15 lieutenants, and therefore why would she be the one that's doing everything? Because how many lieutenants do you need? You know, ensigns do the grunt work. You know, so we don't know the crew number yet, but if it's only 100 crew, and obviously you've got the top 15 of highest rank, and she's in like the bottom bracket of another 10, and everyone else is like an ensign or a lieutenant junior grade that are just, you know, like I would kind of like, if we got a crew number, to say, well, you are, hey, welcome to the top 10%. You know, kind of make it feel so small that she has to be important. Because didn't that feel odd too that a lieutenant was being given, like, was involved in so much when there should be lots of lieutenants? Or did that not occur to you?
Yeah, I thought about it, but I just assumed it was her mother just kind of piling on the workload, much like we got with because that's how the episode started. She wanted her to have the worst assignments, and she even told Jack Ransom to get her even more worst assignments. Oh wait, and then she had the idea to promote her.
Which was a fun idea. It was a nice little twist.
So it was just her mom, I think, in making sure that she was the one that was always being called on for that kind of thing. So I really didn't think about it too much. So
it just seemed when she kept walking to her quarters and she kept getting new, you know, mandatory staff meeting, mandatory, you know, all these things that. What if there was 15 lieutenants and they're mandatory? That room's very crowded every time. You know what I mean? That's just the impression that I got. So I would like to think it's a small crew, which wouldn't be a big crew, and therefore, you know, I'm adding more into it, but I hope that's part of it. Cool to see her in gold. That was kind of cool.
Yeah. The addition of the gold uniform was surprising to me. I didn't know you necessarily just got a new uniform color upon.
Yeah, especially considering you're going to be back into red when you're a captain, if you get captain or commander. So I don't know why you would need to be. But I guess, obviously, Tuvok and Data and Worf are all commanders, lieutenant commanders, and they're all gold. But yeah, you can be a red commander, can't you? Lieutenant commander, why would you not? Yeah. But it's a visual, like, we've changed her existence. And then we finally get to see crew quarters, which to me felt like Discovery crew quarters.
And, yeah, they were not only huge, but you see it had, like, 8 windows across the one wall, which makes sense for all the goddamn windows on the outside of that ship.
Yes.
So there was a direct correlation there.
Okay. Yeah, but it felt like Discovery, but a better version.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, over-windowed, but they've already committed to it. I didn't think of that. That's smart. I like that. But it was nice to see a room. And it was reasonably spacious, but also not, like, extreme. It was more like a hotel room sort of, or a student accommodation. Like, okay, you've got the biggest room in the house. It's like, it's okay, you got some prestige, but it's not like, as big as the Enterprise D would have. Like, Worf got far. He's a commander, but I did like that. I was surprised how much time they gave that plot. That was kind of the A plot. Well, it was the A plot, but it felt, the cool sciencey stuff was on the back burner a little bit. But it was good for a character. It was fun to see it, like, all the hints where she was doing her job well was nice. Yeah, it was an interesting mixed bag, and like I say, very, very different tone, pace to the other three, which shows that. And actually, it's interesting. If you were trying to show a new fan one of these 4, what the hell would you pick? Because each one is different, and each one would appeal to different people. That's hard, which is impressive for them because they're showing they can do different things. If this isn't the same, I think we're at the first one, they might be relying on certain jokes to rule the roost. But, I mean, they're very varied, I guess, except Marina's annoying, but she's just a bad officer, not annoying. But it's pretty varied,
Yeah, I don't know if I can answer that question as to which one I would show a new. Because they're all very good in their own way. And I thought it was funny. The poker game was funny. The mandatory, like, talent night thing, talking about Ransom's birthday where he's going to be doing the guitar, and just things that the officers have to do.
But kind of I was worried about that, as you know, with the poker game originally. But the twist and everything was fun enough. Although you got to wonder, did the captain tell her entire bridge staff, "I'm here to punish my daughter," or was it they all thought she was promoted? Because they all seemed like, apart from also the second in command, seemed like the cat lady seemed fine and nice to her in a way she would normally be. Because it would seem like it would make the crew seem even worse if they were all actively being like, ha 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 ha, we're trying to get her to leave the ship, so we'll be nice to her. That's a horrible thing, It's like if Picard did to everyone about Reginald Barclay, everyone needs to make fun of him even more because we hate him, and everyone does. It's like, wow. So I didn't get that sense, luckily, with those scenes. Like, she's just, welcome, Lieutenant. Like, they all seem relatively happy. Like, even that thing about the bar stool versus whatever, that felt like a genuine scene, not a let's bullshit for her, which is why it's silly. Like, they really have these stupid conversations, and she's being forced into that world. So I kind of like, finely balanced, but I think they took the right side of the balance.
Yeah, I don't think that she told the crew necessarily that she was torturing her daughter, because the promotion is a good thing, and the congratulations were there. The well earned. You hear that in the background, and
I mean that one scene though, I did think she said, because it's not well earned, but I did think that she would give the disclaimer of, I want to give my daughter another chance. She has had a great record. Let's give her a chance. And then they say well earned as like this is what I can say. So it was slightly humouring her, but more on we'll give you the chance. Welcome aboard,
I guess that's it. I mean, there's probably more we'll talk about. We'll do that live tonight at 5 Eastern Standard Time, so tune in for that, guys, if you haven't already. Or if you don't already. Or it depends when you see this, I guess. Yeah, if you haven't already. Anyway, until then, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Make sure you're subscribed to see more. And the bell notification icon, obviously. And put your comments down below. What did you think about this episode? And what was your favorite part? What did you not like? Was this, like, compared to the other 3, where does this fall for you? Because we love reading your comments and seeing what you guys are thinking. So let us know.
And if you want to support us to do more of these shows, and as you know, weekly we do lots of little sub videos looking at the stuff in the shows, then do support us. There's a plethora of great ways, and any of which help us, so please can. Patreon, really super way of helping us with a monthly donation. YouTube does not give us really any money anymore. That sucks, but you guys really have picked up that slack, and any extra does allow us to keep going and have the confidence to keep going with all this crazy content. Patreon or Super Chats, join the lives that Stuart's mentioned, the review live and others. Put in a few bucks does make a difference, and you can do a comment. We have to, well, we say we have to read the comments because we want to, always read out. That's great because we love, you guys can just spawn a conversation, and we absolutely adore that. Or one-time donation at trekyards@hotmail.com. That is the PayPal address. Boom. Again, whatever you want for that. And join the channel on YouTube, any of the amounts. And again, that really does help the channel. And just, the likes are free and the views are free. So just have a look at what we do.
And try not to get promoted or ascend, because I hear ascending is painful. And promoted, you got more work to do. So
yes,
stay where you are. Stay where you are, and we'll see you next time. So until then, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm unfortunately a commander, Cockings.
That's right.
Maybe it'll be ensign next
guys.
time. Maybe I'll maybe all's well. Bye guys.